time now is 4:27. Thanks for joining me here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Meredith Barrick. We have breaking news from overnight after firefighters were called to two separate fires this morning. The first in the 1800 block on North Talbot Street. This is on the northeast side. The second on Pennsylvania. This one just 20 minutes after that first call, and it was actually spotted by a group of people who made a wrong turn in an Uber. So that wrong turn turned out to potentially save some lives. There are no injuries reported in either of these fires, but they were awfully close to one another, so firefighters are looking into whether or not they're connected. We have a warning this morning about counterfeit e-cigarettes. If you're someone who chooses to use these, you need to look closely when you're purchasing them. We spoke to a man from Richmond who says he bought one from a gas station and it turned out to be counterfeit. Now, authorities are saying you need to look out for this because if you are buying one of these counterfeit e-cigarettes, you're potentially putting yourself in danger. We want to get a check at the weather now with meteorologist Todd Clausen. Another scorcher out there today.
Yeah, you know, and the difference today is the humidity. You can already feel it this morning when you walk outside. Yesterday, got to 90 degrees for the third day in a row, but the humidity wasn't super high. That changes today, and that's going to result in a more uncomfortable day, and there's already a heat advisory posted for northern Indiana, not here in central Indiana as of yet, but either way, whether you're in the advisory or not, it is going to be a hot one. Look at 80 degrees still in Muncie right now at 428 this morning, 75 in Indy as well as Zionsville, 72 in Logansport. We're on our way up to a high of 92 degrees later on this afternoon. The humidity is going to put the heat index near 100 degrees later on this afternoon. Yesterday, the heat index was kind of around 91, 92, so it's going to feel even a little more uncomfortable with that heat and humidity. Can't rule out the chance of one of those isolated storms popping up, but nothing widespread here throughout the day today.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. And a lot of people gearing up for 4th of July. They may be taking to the roads today, and our Aaron Lish is looking into what to expect if you are traveling this week. She spoke to folks from AAA to talk about what they're seeing number-wise. They are anticipating some of the highest 4th of July travel we have seen in years. This is also due to lower gas prices. So she's going to let you know everything you need to know if you and the family are loading up the minivan and heading out for the 4th of July holiday. We've got that story plus much more news, weather, and traffic here to kick off your Tuesday morning.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Counterfeit e-cigarette products are making their way onto store shelves. Now at 4:30, the dangers federal officials say the phony products could pose. And a lawsuit filed against the Department of Child Services says the agency fails to protect its most vulnerable children. This morning, why the agency's director says the lawsuit is misleading. And the health department is warning against the West Nile virus, where recent cases of the virus have been detected, and how you can protect yourself. It is 4:30 on your Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Meredith Barrick. Elena Martella here, keeping a close eye on the roads, which may start to get crowded due to the 4th of July.
The good news is no interstate projects on the way.
That is the good news. And meteorologist Todd Clausen with the not so good news because it's only getting hotter outside today.
You know, more humid as well. That's the big issue. That's what gets everybody here, and you're really going to feel the humidity as soon as you walk out the door this morning. That's the big change from yesterday morning. Yesterday, we had that bright blue sky throughout the afternoon hours. Today it's going to be more of that hazy sky, and that's the added moisture that'll be around in the form of that humidity. 75 degrees right now is the current temperature in Indianapolis, 80 in Muncie, 77 in Tipton, still in the 70s in Bloomington, as well as Greencastle and Crawfordsville at 71, 75 as you make your way over into Wayne County. So it's warm, it's muggy, and we have partly cloudy skies this morning. The green you see there north of Lafayette, that's just a little feedback. That is not any rain in your forecast. The storm track today is still well to our north, so the only way we'll get a storm in here is if we manufacture it in the daytime heating, and if that is the case, it's going to be very, very isolated, and it's just going to be very quick moving through. We are not expecting any widespread severe weather throughout the day today. So 87 already by the noon hour with those humid conditions. Heat index values today anywhere between 95 and 100 degrees as the actual high temperature gets up to 92. And again, just that chance of a stray storm building in anytime after 4 o'clock this afternoon. afternoon. The time now is 4:31. Let's go look at the roads on this Tuesday morning. Here's Elena.
All right, thank you, Todd. So I mentioned no projects. That means from 4th of July through the weekend. Right now, there are some construction projects underway. So the right two lanes closed northbound I-69 near I-465, as well as the right two lanes closed eastbound I-465 right around this Allisonville Road area. So let's take a look at both of these projects on our live in.dot traffic camera. You can see on the right side of your screen, crews are out there on I-69 just north of I-465. Let's look at this Allisonville Road project. Here's 465, the eastbound lanes. You can see those right two lanes with that arrow signage blocking off those two lanes. Right now, traffic's flowing just fine in both areas, but I'll keep an eye on it as we head into the morning rush.
Elena, thank you. Breaking overnight, firefighters are investigating two fires that happened within blocks of each other on the city's northeast side. Officials say the first fire started in the 1800 block of Talbot Street. 3 people were home when the fire started, including a baby. Then 20 minutes later, IFD says passengers inside an Uber that took a wrong turn spotted a fire on Pennsylvania and alerted homeowners to the fire. 5 people were inside that duplex. No injuries were reported in either fire. There's no word this morning if the fires are connected. A warning from federal authorities: if you use e-cigarettes, counterfeiting is becoming a big problem, making it even harder for users to tell exactly what they're inhaling. RTV6's Graham Hunter spoke to a Richmond man who says he bought a fake from his local gas station.
I popped a pod and it just was, I mean, you could just tell immediately.
Jesse Service just bought one of his favorite e-cigarette brands from his nearby corner store. It was about $15 cheaper than he's used to paying.
Anybody who's ever smoked a regular Mango Juul, it's just so much different.
Service thought he was buying mango-flavored Juul brand e-cigarette cartridges. One sign something was off. The company tells me aside from menthol, they don't sell flavored products anymore, a move made to cut back on underage use.
Well, I think it's a huge concern for teens, and they all like the mango.
The Juul spokesman we talked to says the counterfeiting of their products is a big problem the company is working to stop because often they're the flavors kids favor. They're working with Border Patrol agencies to stop the flood of illegitimate fake products that often originate in China.
You never know how grotesque the laboratory that they're making these pods is.
U.S. Customs and Border Patrol officers seized over 1,100 counterfeit Juul pods in April in Philadelphia, worth about $5,000.
They really are really good at making them look legitimate.
A spokesman from Customs and Border Patrol says counterfeit products that are inhaled pose even greater danger to consumers because there's no way to verify the product's ingredients, and says real Juul pods are made here and regulated by the U.S. government. Only on close examination, and after he used it, could Service tell he had a fake.
I didn't want to breathe that in, and it wasn't really my choice.
Service says he got his money back from the gas station he bought the fake pods from and hopes they stop selling it.
My only intentions were just to kind of just spread around to everybody that you got to pay attention.
Reporting in Indianapolis, Graham Hunter, RTV6.
The Customs and Border Protection spokesman we talked to says they take counterfeiting seriously because the dangers those products pose to American consumers. The director of Indiana's Department of Child Services is responding to a class action lawsuit filed by a group of foster children with disabilities. Call 6 Investigates broke the story last week. In the suit, the children say the state fails to protect its most vulnerable children. DCS Director Terry Stigdon calls the lawsuit misleading and puzzling. Stigdon points to the number of improvements the agency has made, including more manageable caseloads for family case managers.
Put frankly, DCS is simply not the agency it used to be. And continuing to rely on an outdated, inflammatory account is misleading and harmful to children and their families. The child welfare system is far from perfect, but Indiana is steadfastly moving in the right direction.
Stigdon says despite a 20% increase in calls to the child abuse and neglect hotline since 2015, the agency answers calls within 15 seconds on average. South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg updating residents on the discussion to improve relationships between police and the community. Buttigieg says the process to create a fair and impartial police department has been going on for years. But recently he's asked the Department of Justice to step in to assist in the process. Buttigieg says says he plans on allowing the public to give input on department policies. The mayor also says the police department has not reached recruiting goals that reflect the South Bend community. A California truck driver has died following a crash on I-70 in Putnam County. 66-year-old Freddie Smith was removing roadside warning signs when he was hit and killed by a van that crossed the white line. Callers reported the driver of the van, 42-year-old Paul Rosano, weaving all over the road near Monrovia. State troopers were trying to catch up to Rosano when the crash happened just east of the Cloverdale exit. Rosano now faces a number of charges, including operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated, causing death. Health officials are urging you to take extra precautions this year to protect yourself after mosquitoes in 2 Indiana counties have already tested positive for West Nile virus. The Indiana State Department of Health says mosquitoes in Elkhart and Clark counties have tested positive for the virus as of today. Indiana health officials haven't found any human cases of West Nile virus so far in 2019. However, the health department expects increased West Nile activity throughout the state as the season continues. And we are working for you with what you need to know to how to avoid mosquitoes. Don't stay outdoors long when mosquitoes are active, which is late afternoon, dusk to dawn, and early morning. Apply an EPA-registered insect repellent containing DEET. Cover exposed skin by wearing a hat, long sleeves, and long pants in places where mosquitoes are especially active, such as wooded areas. Install or repair screens on windows and doors to keep mosquitoes out of your home. Hiring Hoosiers is our initiative connecting you to jobs, training, education, and other resources. And a Central Indiana Police Department is looking for new recruits. The Kokomo Police Department is accepting applications through September 9th. Some of the requirements include U.S. and Howard County residency, no felony convictions, and you must be between 21 and 35 years old. There are different age requirements for veterans. For more information on how to apply, you can go to cityofkokomo.org. Protests happening today will call for President Trump to close migrant camps along the Texas-Mexico border. Straight ahead, why the protests come as the president promises massive deportation raids this weekend. And the search will continue today for a man missing from a boat in the Ohio River. After the break, what witnesses reported hearing before that man went missing. Todd.
And Meredith, heat index values today will be climbing close to 100 degrees in many locations. A heat advisory is posted to the north. It's going to be a very hot and steamy day for us here across the area. We'll talk all about it when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 4:39. You're watching RTV 6.
6, sponsored by Citizens Energy Group.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now for 4:42. Here's a look on our north side, I-465 at Michigan Road. Traffic's moving along just fine. Stay tuned. I'll have your latest update coming up in the next few minutes.
We'll see you then, Elena. And here is a look at some of the news expected to make headlines today. Thousands of people are gathering in areas of Chile and Argentina to witness a total solar eclipse this afternoon. That's when the moon passes across the sun. San Francisco's Exploratorium will host a live stream from an observatory in Chile. NASA says the next solar eclipse will also be over South America in 2020. The U.S. women's national team takes on England in the FIFA World Cup semifinal this afternoon in France. The U.S. and England played a 2-2 draw earlier this year at the She Believes Cup in Nashville. The other semifinal will take place between Netherlands and Sweden on Wednesday. This morning, Democrats are decrying inhumane and toxic conditions at detention centers in Texas. As ABC's Mona Kosar Abdi reports, this is as immigration officials investigate inappropriate Facebook posts made by Border Control agents about members of Congress.
This morning, Democrats painting a haunting picture of 2 border facilities housing migrants in Texas. Representative Joaquin Castro sharing this video captured inside the El Paso Center. The congressman says the women seen here who consented to being recorded have been sharing a cramped cell, some for months, and have been denied showers and life-saving medicine. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who was among the group of Democrats who toured the facilities, tweeting, "Women are being kept in cells without water and told to drink out of toilets." Ocasio-Cortez also recounted tense interactions with Border Patrol agents.
In that last facility, I was not safe from the officers in that facility.
This as the fallout continues from a secret Facebook page uncovered by ProPublica with vulgar and threatening posts allegedly made by agents about members of Congress. Some of the posts joking about migrant deaths.
That was a vulgar, disgusting, and vile page.
Customs and Border Protection saying it's investigating the page. The Border Patrol's chief of operations also addressing the situation on CNN.
Don't let the actions of a few be representative of the whole is what I would ask.
Overnight, President Trump defended Border Patrol agents, calling them patriots. And President Trump is threatening to conduct massive deportation raids unless Democrats change asylum laws, which is unlikely to happen before Congress leaves for the 4th of July recess. Monaco Sarabdi, ABC News, Washington.
This morning, the FAA will arrive in Orange County to begin their investigation into a deadly ultralight crash. Indiana State Police say the crash happened around 9 last night in the northern part of the county. State troopers say one person died in the crash. Their identity has not been released. An autopsy for the victim is scheduled for later today. The search will continue this morning for a person missing in the Ohio River near Clarksville. Authorities say around 6:30 last night they were called to a boat taking on water. Firefighters say they found a man clinging to a life vest in the river. The man told firefighters another person was on the boat with him and he didn't know if the other man made it off. Crews searched several miles of the river but didn't find that other man. Witnesses reported hearing a loud boom before seeing the man in the water, although what caused the boat to sink isn't clear. New this morning, an Evansville Uber driver now faces rape charges in connection to a December 2018 incident. Police say Marshall Savage Banks reportedly raped a woman on her way home from a bar. The victim's friends ordered an Uber when they had too much to drink, but when friends went to go check on her, she wasn't there. The victim then told her friends Banks had raped her. This morning, he's in the Vanderburgh County Jail on $5,000 bond. Suspended Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel has filed paperwork to run for sheriff again. The Florida governor suspended Israel in January over the handling of last year's mass shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. The governor also criticized Israel for the sheriff's office's response to the 2017 shooting at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport that left 5 people dead. Monday, Israel said he has been campaigning since the Florida Senate has not yet weighed in on his suspension.
I'm out and about. I haven't stopped campaigning, even post-suspension. And I know that the Broward County resident, the Broward County voter, is fully aware that we had a governor make a promise, a campaign promise, to suspend the sheriff.
Israel recently testified before the Florida Senate during an appeals hearing, claiming his suspension was purely political. Closing arguments from both sides are expected to be given on August 19th. It is 4:47 right now, and it is already 75 degrees outside, Todd. That means the temps are only going to continue to rise.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot one and a humid one here across the area, and that's the big difference from yesterday compared to today. Yesterday, it was hot. We got up to 90 degrees, but the humidity was fairly low yesterday, and we had that northwesterly breeze that helped to mix up the air a little bit. Well, today the winds have turned southwesterly, and as a result, the humidity has come way up. There's dew points are now in the low 70s. That's very, very uncomfortable for us here in central Indiana. The actual temperature, as Meredith mentioned, is at 75 degrees. Those dew points are not going to change much at all here throughout the day today. So as far as the humidity goes, what you walk out the door to this morning is basically what you're going to get throughout the remainder of the afternoon and into the evening hours. But as the actual temperatures go up, that's also going to result in heat index values close to 100 degrees later on this afternoon. 72 in Lafayette right now, 75 in Richmond, Muncie, 80 degrees, 76 is the current reading as you make your way up into the Kokomo and Tipton area, with skies that are partly cloudy here this morning, and the storm track is still way to our north. You notice all the storms moving through Green Bay, northern Michigan, while we are dealing with partly cloudy skies, and all those storms are moving along the periphery of this heat core, this dome of hot air that's in place, not only here in central Indiana, but to the south and to the east of us as well. And until this breaks down, the main storm track will stay to our north. So the only storms that we have in the forecast are going to just be these isolated pop-up storms that we manufacture with the heat and the humidity that we have around. So once again, this afternoon, there will be an isolated downpour or two here and there across the area, especially today in northern locations. Yesterday, we had a few downpours down to the south. Today, a better chance chance to the north. If you do see one of these downpours, it's likely going to move through pretty quick. Wind and some heavy rain and some lightning are going to be the main impacts as these storms go through, but we are not expecting any severe weather in the forecast for the day today. So we quickly climb into the 80s here this morning. We're near 90 degrees already by the noon hour, and then high temperatures eventually do climb up into the low 90s this afternoon, getting up to about 92 degrees for your high temperature. When you factor in that humidity, though, it's going to feel more like 95 to 100 degrees throughout the course of the afternoon hours. So that's when you're starting to get into that dangerous territory. So try to limit yourself from being outdoors for an extended period of time. Drink plenty of water. If you don't have air conditioning, head to the mall, head to the public library where they do have air conditioning, or maybe a restaurant, and just sit in there for a little while. And then this evening, temperatures don't fall back down into the 70s until we get past sunset, which is at 9:17 this evening. Rain chances going forward. Tomorrow's still pretty spotty in the forecast. And as we get into the 4th of July holiday and beyond, there will be storms in the forecast. Do not cancel your 4th of July plans. These are going to be scattered storms here and there. Many of you will have dry hours, many dry hours, both the 4th of July on Friday and then Saturday and Sunday as well. You do notice the temperatures do start to cool off, though, towards the tail end of the weekend. And by Monday, a high temperature of 83 degrees. Lena?
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look at I-69 just north of I-465. You can see the right two lanes are blocked, and that's on the right side of your screen. So there's an overnight roadwork project underway right now in the northbound lanes of I-69. Let's take a look at this area on our map. I'll point it out to you. So you can see already from our live in traffic camera that traffic is slowed down just a bit. So keep that in mind if it is part of your drive. This is one of those areas that does get pretty heavy with traffic as we head into rush hour. So hopefully it wraps up before we do get into the thick of that. So right two lanes closed eastbound 465 near Allisonville Road as well. So pay attention to that. We have this on our live in traffic camera as well. You can see those right two lanes blocked off and traffic's flowing just fine in this area right now. But again, I'll pay attention to both of those areas as we head into the real thick of morning rush.
Elena, thank you. Bikers in India are forced to flee a tiger. Coming up, the incredible skill it took to outrun the tiger and capture the entire thing on video.
I'm Vinny Politan. Today on Court TV, the penalty phase of the trial Scott Nelson continues as prosecutors seek the ultimate penalty for the ultimate crime. In this case, Jennifer Fulford was abducted and killed by Scott Nelson. And today, the defense gets their turn to present their evidence to try to convince this jury to spare the life of Scott Nelson. Our coverage is live in Orlando all day long, right here on Court TV.
And don't forget, you can watch the all-new Court TV live on your mobile device by visiting CourtTV.com. Good morning, Indiana. We'll be right back.
Service from the Hogsett family.
A group of people celebrating a birthday at a South Carolina restaurant were preparing to take a photo on the dock when they heard a loud crack. Then down into the creek they went. Security camera footage from the marina next door shows the folks being helped out of the creek, fully clothed and soaking wet. While most people from the group were fine, 3 people were treated for minor injuries. It took a lot of skill and concentration for these bike riders to survive being chased by a tiger and film it at the same time. 2 Forest Department officials were riding through a wildlife sanctuary in Kerala, India, when one noticed the tiger was chasing them. The chase was only for a few seconds before the tiger ran back into the jungle. Looks like today these guys survived the game of cat and mouse. Wow. Could you imagine?
No.
I would be very happy I was on that bike right about then versus on foot.
Be cranking the throttle a little bit faster there, that is for sure. All right, it's hot and humid here throughout the day today. In fact, a little more humid today than it has been in the past few days. So it's going to result in higher heat index values this afternoon, up near 100 degrees, with just the chance of a spot storm today. Spot storm chance tomorrow as well. Storms become a little numerous once we get to the 4th of July and onward through the weekend. With that said, though, there's a lot of dry hours through the holiday weekend as well, with plenty of hazy sunshine and high temperatures that'll be in the mid to upper 80s. The time now is 4:57. Stay with us. We'll be right back.